Coming up on Lindenwood News, a man is dead after crash on Monday morning. Plus, an update from last week on the radioactive waste contaminating soil in St. Louis County. And Chromebooks giveaway down in the St. Louis County Library. Those stories and more ahead on Lindenwood News. Welcome to this edition of Lindenwood News. I'm Grace Markle. A man is dead after crashing on 141 and I-44 on Monday morning. Police say shortly after 3 in the morning, a man crashed his Ford Explorer into an overpass. The Missouri State Highway Patrol crash report says the vehicle immediately caught fire. Police say the man was pronounced dead at the scene. The eastbound I-44 ramp was closed for a few hours. Missouri Highway Patrol is investigating the accident. Update on the story from last week regarding radioactive waste in St. Louis County. Senator Josh Hawley rallies outside the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday for radiation victims. He wants to expand the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act to allow federal compensation for those affected in St. Louis. If the act goes into law, those eligible could get related medical expenses paid or a one-time payment of $50,000. A new law is being passed to give minors more privacy in the Missouri court system. Before the law was introduced back in August, information regarding minors was readily available on a site called CaseNet. Now, with Senate Bill 103, CaseNet excludes that private info for people under 18. The new law is all thanks to one St. Charles mother who advocated for years to get her own son's private information removed from the web. Red light cameras may be coming back to St. Louis. A board of St. Louis leaders have proposed a bill to increase traffic safety. Mayor Tashara Jones says it will be funded through the American Rescue Plan and the Safer Streets program. The city originally got rid of red light cameras in 2015. There has not been any timeline announced for reintroduction. A man is killed after crashing his car into the Target in Brentwood. The Brentwood Police Department says just before 5:30 in the morning, the driver of a pickup truck drove into the side of the store. Only the driver was in the car at the time of the crash. The driver died at the scene. Since the store was closed at the time of the accident, there were no other injuries. According to Brentwood Police Department, officers and detectives are working on identifying the driver. St. Louis County Library is giving away 1,000 Chromebooks. St. Louis County Library says the FCC gave them $7 billion to get the Chromebooks. The FCC provides schools and libraries access to the internet for those who cannot afford it. The city library says those selected to receive a Chromebook will be notified by October 6th. The library says they cannot pay to replace lost or damaged Chromebooks. Straight ahead on Lindenwood News. An F-35 U.S. fighter jet has gone missing in South Carolina. More details coming up.
In life, you coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
You know, it took 20 years and I got my third child who was 17 at the time.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
I never graduated from high school. I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
An F-35 U.S. fighter jet has gone missing in South Carolina. Officials say a so-called mishap caused the pilot to eject himself from the jet. They say he was able to land safely and was taken to a hospital. Authorities are asking the public for help in locating the aircraft. The incident is currently under investigation. 2 suspects are charged with murder following the death of a 1-year-old in New York. Authorities say the toddler died and 3 other kids were hospitalized after being exposed to fentanyl at a daycare. Center police arrested 41-year-old Carlisto Echevedo Brito and 36-year-old Gray Mendez in connection to the incident. Brito and Mendez are also facing other charges such as assault and endangering the welfare of a child. The 2 have not yet entered a plea. A man was shot and killed by his neighbor in Central Florida. 78-year-old Edward Drew Zalowski was arrested and charged of second-degree murder. Deputies identified the victim as 42-year-old Brian Ford. Drew Zalowski confronted Ford about being on his property. Drew Zalowski told investigators he threatened to shoot Ford if he did not leave. Ford did not leave and was pronounced dead at the scene. Drew Zalowski is being held in the Volusia County Jail. A child dies in an Italian Air Force jet explosion. A jet from the Italian Air Force's acrobatics squadron crashes during a practice run near Turin, Italy on Saturday. Burning jet debris hit a car nearby, killing a 5-year-old and burning her 9-year-old brother. Officials say the jet exploded moments after takeoff. The fire brigade saw the pilot ejecting moments before the jet hit the ground. The pilot is expected to be okay. Dozens of people are dead after Azerbaijan launches military operation against Armenians. An ongoing war between these 2 countries has sparked another dispute. According to officials, at least 32 people have been killed and 200 others are hurt. Parts of Armenia are internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan. This has been the cause of 2 different wars over the past 3 decades.
Coming up, Forest Park celebrated 50 years of hot air balloon races. Also be prepared with the most accurate forecast. More with weather after this.
You are loved. You are valued. You are resilient. You got this.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly. and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
"50 hot air balloons took flight in this weekend's Forest Park balloon race. Grand Forest Park celebrated 50 years of hot air balloon races this weekend. The event, originating in 1973, has become one of the world's most renowned races. Top balloon pilots from around the country will start their races before 6 p.m. Saturday evening. The event is sponsored by PNC Bank. Let's take a look at the current weather conditions around the U.S. There's a stationary front moving throughout the Midwest. This means there is the potential of rainfall in the region. It is ranging up from Minnesota and all the way down into Texas. Heavy rain is falling in the northwest as well as the northeast. Despite it turning fall, there is still severe heat in the south. Arizona in particular is dealing with blistering heat, still in the triple digits. Throughout the St. Louis area, today will be a very nice day. There will be a little bit of rain in the morning, but it should clear out as the day moves along. Highs of 80 in St. Charles, 80 in Maryland Heights, 79 in St. Louis, 80 in O'Fallon, and 80 in St. Peters. During the night, we'll have lows dipping into the 60s. Let's move it over to the 5-day forecast. Here in St. Charles, we'll have a high of 80 and a low of 62 on Wednesday, and Thursday, a high of 84 and a low of 61. Kicking off the weekend, we will have a high of 86 and a low of 62 on Friday. Saturday will bring a high of 87 and a low of 64. And finally, Sunday will get up to 85 and drop down to 63. That's it for weather. I'm Kyle Sixta.
St. Louis City SC ties a MLS record. More on sports after the break.
You are valued. You are resilient. You got this.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.
What are you doing in there?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
It's time now for a look at your weekly sportscast. Luther Burden III put on the show in his first college game in his hometown. The Tigers wide receiver catching a career-high 10 passes for a career best of 177 yards to help Missouri beat Memphis 34-27 on Saturday night in St. Louis. He tells us he thinks the team had some good calls by the refs and all the team's work on the screen paid off. Fellow St. Louis native Brady Cook completed 18 of 25 passes for 341 yards and 2 touchdowns to spark the Missouri to its 4-0 start since 2013. It was almost like old times on Saturday afternoon at the Enterprise Center. Number 70 for the Blues was crashing into the boards, throwing his weight around in the matchup against Arizona. It was the first game back to the ice for Oscar Sundquist, and the crowd went wild as the announcer declared the fourth-line center's first goal of the preseason. The Blues took the W over Arizona with their 3-2 final score. And finally, St. Louis City SC is on fire. The football club ties the MLS record after winning against Minnesota on Saturday. The team is tied with the Los Angeles Football Club's 2018 record of 16 wins by an expansion club in their inaugural season. The milestone was secured at the game where St. Louis beat Minnesota 2-1 on Saturday night, breaking a 4-game losing streak. And that's it for sports. I'm Devion Harris.
St. Charles Police K-9 tank retires after 7 years of service. St. Charles County Police Department will hold a retirement ceremony for Tank. Over his 7 years of service, Tank has tracked down 13 missing people and been a fundamental piece in several drug busts. Recent health issues have made the retirement an easy choice. Tank will spend his retirement chasing tennis balls with his handler officer, Courtney Spice. That's it for this edition of Lindenwood News. I'm Grace Markle. Thanks for joining us.